Put the bunny back in the box.
If it bleeds, we can kill it.
My God, just be normal!
I'm gonna do what you all think I'm gonna do, which is just flip out!
Get away from her, you.
Let me give you a British answer. It was my cup of tea.
No more foreplay.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Celluloid Cellar with Cameron and Jack, the film podcast where we sit down in a dank, dirty basement and we talk about movies and all such good things like that. My name is Cameron.
And my name is Jack.
And Jack is enjoying how much I play up the cellar each and every time, but it is smelly down here. There's a single bulb without a lampshade on it, and that
Stagnant water smell.
Yes, it is, yeah. And somewhere deep in the background, you can just hear a really distorted version of Something in the Way by Nirvana playing as well, just to add to the mood.
I thought you were going to say like there's a street cat outside just like hissing and screeching.
Well, no, we can't see that because we're in the basement.
Oh, okay, yeah, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's above
No, we
us.
can't. And there is a window, but it's been blacked out with gaffer tape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it got smashed many years ago.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, but you can just hear slightly underneath the bridge. Sorry, that's been in my head because I rewatched The Batman at the weekend.
Did you enjoy it?
I love The Batman. Yeah.
I need to rewatch The Batman.
Yeah.
But like I said in the previous episode about Batman Returns, I think I prefer Batman Returns. The
Previous episode about Batman Returns. Do you mean the previous
Sorry.
episode about On Her Majesty's Secret
Yes, where
Service?
we mentioned Batman Returns and I got it wrong.
You got it all confused, yes.
Yeah, 3 times. How embarrassing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Quite embarrassing.
Yes. No, I watched Once Upon a Time in Hollywood over the weekend.
Ooh.
I-
Very long.
Yeah, very long, but it's kind of, I think I can't remember BBC, I listened to a BBC review of it and it was described as a hangout movie and I can agree with that.
Yeah.
You can kind of dip in and out of it and...
Got friendly vibes.
Yeah.
Other than the Manson family.
Yeah, and Brad Pitt maybe being
Definitely being a murderer.
yeah, definitely being a murderer. I'm currently listening to the audiobook of the
Yeah, because he made the book version.
Yeah, he did
as
the
well.
book version as well. So
Yeah.
I will update when I've finished it.
Very nice. Looking forward to it. I have just caught something, though, and I've got to do it before someone else does it.
What's that?
I'm talking about The Batman, not Batman. From a couple of years ago.
Oh.
Which is also very, very long.
Oh, no, wait. So you're talking about Batman 2022?
Yes, The Batman.
The Batman. Okay,
The
not
Batman.
Batman. Oh,
Yeah.
I do very much like The Batman.
Yes.
Yes, I'm very much here for Robert Pattinson as Batman.
Yes, same. Yeah.
Although it is very strange that we had 2012, The Dark Knight Rises was Christian Bale's last one. Then 2016, was it Batman and Robin?
Batman v Superman.
Batman. Oh my gosh, my knowledge is coming out in all places.
It's all
Lack
right.
of knowledge, I mean. So that was 2016. Then we had Justice League. And then again, within like 5 years, we've got another Batman.
It is. So this one was originally going to be the Ben Affleck version. So Ben Affleck was originally going to write and direct it, or I think he was going to have the screenwriter of Argo and Justice League write on it. What's his name? Forgotten it. Chris Terrio,
Oh.
who also wrote The Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah,
Hooray!
what a shit film.
So it was going to be Chris Terrio, I believe, with Ben Affleck. Then Ben was like, I can't direct it as well because, he had some personal issues and we love Ben and we support him in whatever
I am
he
actually
does.
very much a fan of Ben Affleck.
You made me become a fan of Ben Affleck.
You're
You're the reason I like Ben Affleck.
he
And
is
I defend
good.
him and anyone who goes off.
Sorry, we ran out of batteries.
Yeah, we'll just leave it at that. The battery died. But anyway, we love Ben.
Yeah, no, and I specifically loved The Way Back, which he did with Gavin O'Connor, who made Warrior with Tom Hardy in.
Did he also was he also the accountant?
Yeah, and there's an account.
Yeah.
The Accountant 2 is coming
Yeah,
out.
the Accountant 2's coming out because it was
But-
deceptively really...
It was a big hit.
Yeah, it made a lot of
but
money.
I think he's just actually had like quite an interesting little bit to his career now because Air is that kind of a lovely little mid-budget film about Nike and their association with Michael B. No, not Michael B. Jordan. Michael Jordan.
Michael Regular Jordan.
Yeah, Michael Regular Jordan.
There's a reason that Michael B. Jordan has to have the B in his name.
But I really liked that. It was a solid, good, well cast little film about, you know, it was just interesting.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. I need to watch it.
And Triple Frontier is quite good with him and Oscar Isaac and
yeah,
Charlie
Hunnam.
Yeah, Charlie Hunnam and he's Pedro Pascal.
Oh,
Yeah, it's actually really.
Okay.
When I first watched it, I was like, meh, but it's actually quite good.
One of the only good Netflix films, would you say?
Yeah, one of the few good Netflix films. And also, finally, The Last Duel, which
Yes, that's meant to be great.
Literally chewing scenery. So's Matt Damon.
I love his weird little look in it.
Yeah, he's like blonde hair, and you're like, how are you blonde in like 15th century, 16th century, like Paris? But I'm
People
here
were
for it.
blonde.
No, but like bleach blonde. Like the only way he would have done that is if he'd like put lemons in his hair and gone out in the sun. But it's like, done in winter, so yeah.
He might have done it. He might have done that all summer long while he was crusading and stuff. I know the Crusades were earlier, but maybe he did.
But no, that is a very good film for a shout out. If
Okay.
yeah. Anyway,
Well, we'll give all of those shout outs.
Yeah.
And today, this is basically a shout out special. I'd call it a special. It's just a regular episode where today we are going to do hidden gems that we think you should see and that you think we should see. That we think the other one of us should see as well.
films that so I pick a film that you haven't seen, you pick a film that I haven't seen, and
Which we try and do anyway. We try and do a
Yeah.
recommendation at the end of each episode, but this is basically just a whole one.
and we're trying to
indulging in it.
put the case across for why you should see this film.
Yeah. And you've probably heard of both of these films, but maybe you haven't seen them
Or
in a
haven't-
while or
yeah.
haven't watched them at all.
Or have heard something about them, and we want to kind of change your viewpoint on them, broaden your horizons.
We want to tip you over the edge to going, oh, okay, yeah, I'll get round to it too. I need to watch that now.
exactly. You should stop what you're doing and put this film on.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And also, they're both less than half an hour. No, half an hour.
Half an hour. That's what we call a short film, Cameron.
They're both trailers.
Yes.
No, they're both less than an hour and a half.
Yeah,
they're
they
both
are.
90-minute movies.
Yeah, which is so good. I watched two 90-minute films last night. I watched the film that we're going to talk about and also Fantastic Mr. Fox by Wes Anderson. And it was delightful. I watched both those films in the time it would take me to watch less than 3/4 of the Justice League.
In the time it would have taken you to watch Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Yeah, and about the time it took me to watch The Batman as well, with all of the pauses and everything I had. But anyway, shall we get into it?
Yes.
Would you like to go first, or should I go first?
You go first.
God, I wasn't ready for that. I wasn't ready for it. But anyway, today, my film that I'm going to be talking about and trying to convince Jack and you, the listener, to watch is the 1999 film Office Space. Now, Office Space is a comedy that was directed by Mike Judge. Mike Judge is the creator of Beavis and Butthead and King of the Hill. He mostly had worked in animation beforehand, but he specializes in weird, down-to-earth, grounded kind of characters who find their humor in like the strange occurrences of everyday life. Beavis and Butthead, if you don't know it, the two guys that sit on the sofa and watch MTV and go,
I've seen. Yeah, they're almost like a precursor to South Park, weren't they?
yeah, they were.
Yeah,
Yeah, they were on
yeah.
MTV back in the day.
It's very 90s, very kind of like,
Yeah.
like I don't know why, but when
Gen
I see,
X 90s,
what pops into my head is like Woodstock 99, that kind of vibe of like,
Yeah.
fuck your fucking government, man.
Yeah, they were very like,
I can't believe I did that. You need to cut
we
that
don't
out.
care. staying in. Too easy to keep in. Yeah, they were that vibe. They're like, yeah, Metallica are cool. Like that's the kind of thing that
I
they
love
did.
Nirvana. Yeah.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they were like that. So he created those, and he also did King of the Hill as well.
Which I've never seen any of.
I saw it like years ago, but I was too young for it. I was too young to get it or understand it. But I'd love to go back and watch it now because I adore this movie. This was his live action directorial debut. And it's about a guy called Peter and his two friends, Samir and Michael, who work in a terrible office for a company called Innertech. And it's just about their horrible, mundane existence there and how they have to deal with life in the office and how they hate their job. They hate their jobs, but how are they going to go around dealing with it?
Am I right in thinking it's basically like about the modernity of working in an office job and like in a cubicle, because that was like really part of the culture at the time, wasn't it? Like
it is.
Fight Club and Matrix has it as well.
I was gonna actually say it is another 1999 film like Fight Club, Matrix, and American Beauty that's all about. So it sort of tops off like that era, and I would say it's another strong contender, and it's a great comedic addition for why 1999 is one of the strongest years in film. But yes, it is very much all about like men getting to the end of the century and being like, what has become of us?
Do you think that's what it was? It's almost like, look at what could happen, where it's great that we've got this technology, but if we're not careful, we just become beings in these little boxes. And
I think there's some element to it. I think it's just like we've made all of these advances, but then
we're slaves to the screen.
We've actually, there's some slaves to the screen thing. That's maybe a bit more Black Mirror. It's more like we've made all of these advances technologically, but then it doesn't work half the time, and we're also just locked into these cubicles, and socially we're just bored, and we've made ourselves just live these awful, terrible existences where the whole idea of the film is because Peter is our protagonist, played by Ron Livingston, who is most known now for Loudermilk, which was just a success on Netflix. Really good.
And series?
TV series.
Oh, okay.
Yes, so Peter is our protagonist. He's going about his daily life, but his boss is a guy called Lumberg, played by Gary Cole excellently, who just comes in and goes like, "Oh, Peter, how you doing? That's great." Doesn't wait for a response, just fully rolls over him with the braces.
Yeah, braces and the glass, and he's always holding a coffee cup.
Yeah, always holding a coffee cup. And he's like, "If you could come in for work on Saturday, that would be great." And just doesn't wait for a response, just like steamrolls through, like so boring, became a meme and everything.
I think, that's where I've seen it from.
Yeah. So it's about how you just become seen by your corporation as a cog, as a part of it, and it's trying to, what do you want to do with your life, something that's meaningful. So the catalyst for the film to change, because Peter's just there and he's hating his daily existence, is his girlfriend takes him to see an occupational hypnotherapist, which I don't think is a real job at all.
Probably is.
Maybe, probably.
Probably.
And he gets hypnotized to not care or stress about work. And he's meant to be brought out of the hypnosis, but something happens that stops him from being brought out of it. And then you sort of have this questioning of yourself of like, is he still hypnotized? Is he still not? When he goes about his life, because he then returns back to his job, doesn't care. He doesn't go into work on the weekend, even though he was asked to. He doesn't go in dressed up with a tie on anymore or tucking his shirt, and he's just palling about in jeans and flip-flops. And you just see him, how he reacts as a more casual person. And it's just a wonderful film full of like funny, weird little characters and quirks. Obviously, I've mentioned Lumberg, played by Gary Cole. Ron Livingston is great. And there was a note from the studio in one of the earlier cuts. They were like, "Oh, Ron Livingston doesn't smile enough. Like, he looks quite miserable." And Mike Judge was like, "That's the point. Like, he hates his job. He's miserable, and he's like just this great sort of like shoulders slumped everyman kind of guy." And watching him in that film, I was like, I've not seen this guy before. And I watched this about first time maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago. And then when Loudermilk came onto Netflix, I was like, oh my God, it's Ron Livingston. Oh, he's in something. I've got to watch this. And very much like similar vibe to him. You've got David Herman playing Michael Bolton, who has the same name as the singer, and that's a recurring joke for him, and he keeps getting into that all the time. John C. McGinley, who you would know from things like Point Break, shows up as a consultant in it as well.
Oh, yeah. Because this is a film that I've seen little clips of.
Yeah, you would see loads
and
of
I've seen like the bit where the guy talks like this and he's like,
yes,
I'm going to kill you.
Oh, what's his name?
Because isn't it like someone takes his stapler?
Yes, the boss takes his swing line stapler.
Yeah, because he's the guy who plays the like the nerdy guy in
Dodgeball.
Yeah, Dodgeball.
Yeah, his character's called Milton. I can't think of the actor's name.
I can't remember.
I should have put it down. I should have put that in my notes, and I should have put Samir's actor's name in my notes as well, but I forgot. And then to round out the cast, we have the love interest played by Jennifer Aniston.
Really?
Really, yes. 1999 or 1998 when she filmed it, Jennifer Aniston, who was a huge star because of Friends, but wanted to do more film work, so took this on.
This is when, like, if you're in TV, it was quite a jump to get into film still, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You could be like a massive TV star, but that didn't mean that you were...
Yeah, there was some people who did like a little bit of crossover and like were in Hollywood at the time, like work is work. Like I'd say Carl McLaughlin was like a recognizable face on TV or in film, but or another Twin Peaks alumni, Lara Flynn Boyle as well. But like Jennifer Aniston, despite having like huge numbers on Friends and being paid absolute tons for that, wanted to do more film stuff, so took what would have been quite a small paycheck for this, because it's a $10 million film, which obviously cost more then than it did now, but $10 million isn't a lot, and the main set is an office, and it's drab, and it's purposely made to look drab, and it's so anti-Hollywood. The doesn't have like beautiful lighting, and it isn't overly dramatic or dramatized in its cinematography style, but there is still like motivated camera movement and everything to that. Like it's not devoid of, you know, cinematic language, but it's purposefully been made to
be
look
modernity. It's
to look grey, yes, to look just
mundane.
Mundane. Yeah.
What's the response then to when he does come into the office in his flip flops and stuff like that? Or do you not want to give that away?
So he ends up going and speaking to some consultants who are brought in to make people redundant. That's John C. McGinley's character and another guy as well, who are playing the two Bobs, who make people redundant. So just tiny little things like that, like the two Bobs, and they're both like completely different characters who like work in different ways. I don't want to give away like what the response is too much. It's maybe less than you might think, but he just sort of gets away with it because everyone else is a bit too scared to do anything. And I think that's a key point of the film, is saying like people are so like afraid of their bosses and wanting to keep their jobs and feeling like it's a necessary evil to just do everything that's done and to play within the rules, that when someone breaks the rules, you don't actually know how to confront it because we all just follow these rules, because rules is rules, and
rules
is rules. And then someone else, you just look at them a bit strange. You don't actually abide by it. I really can't recommend it enough, though. It's such a weird little quirky film that has an amazing soundtrack as well. So the majority of the soundtrack is gangster rap, which is a beautiful juxtaposition to the mundanity and the banal, like sort of rest of the setting and everything, and they use it to great effect as well. So when he they have like a great montage when he first comes in and he's new and he's relaxed, and it's to the song "Damn It Feels Good to Be a Gangster" by the Ghetto Boys. The Ghetto Boys feature quite a bit on the soundtrack. It also uses the song "Still" in a slow motion section of the film. So this is what I'm talking about with the cinematic skills. So it uses slow motion, but it does it to accent something really, really pointless, where they're just downloading a software onto a floppy disk. And then when
it's not a Michael Bay one where a man's like running away from an explosion shooting a gun.
He's literally he's walking down the corridor, someone else is downloading it onto the floppy disk, and then when he passes it to someone else, it has like a boom sting in there, so like they goes from one hand to the other and it goes like boom. And it's really just playing up the idea of
how mundane everything is.
How mundane everything is, but when you do like something at that point, they're doing something outside of the norm that's against the rules of the office culture. And so it's like playing up how much they feel like bad boys, even though they're just like, they're these nerds. They're two white guys and a Asian guy, and they're just like playing up how silly it is, like how they feel like the coolest guys in the world, but they're still there in this office in their overly baggy 90s shirts, just under this horrible, oppressive fluorescent lighting. And that was a note that Mike Judge gave to the set designers and the lighting team for the cinematographer, was he wanted it to feel as oppressive as possible, and he based it off of an office that he worked in as a physicist in other jobs for a while.
Because you worked in an office, didn't you, for a bit?
I've worked in a couple of offices.
Would you, having worked in an office yourself, because I've not really worked in a...
Is this the office I worked in years and years ago?
Does it relate?
This is most like my office when I worked for a large bank here in the UK. I worked there as a temp for 6 months. I wonder what bank it could be. I could probably say, but I won't.
Leave the tension.
I will, yeah.
The tension, sorry, the mystery.
Yeah, so it was just a temp job when one of my first jobs out of uni, temp job, 6 months. This feels the most like it.
Do you think you relate to it more though because of that? Because you've worked in that environment, you're like, that's what that's like.
I think that anyone who has a job could relate to it as well, because Jennifer Aniston's character is called Joanna, and she works at the chain restaurant across the street, which is like a TGI Fridays plug-in, and you also see little bits of interaction with her and her manager, who's played by Mike Judge, the director himself. And she's getting told off for not having enough flair on her braces, so she's meant to have distinctive bits of character pinned to her braces of her outfit. So she's meant to have at least 15 pieces of flair. And she's like, I've got 15. And he's like, yeah, but that's the bare minimum. And do you want to be someone that just does the bare minimum? And she's like, so do you want more? And he's like, no. You have to decide whether you want to be someone who does the bare minimum. So I think if you've had like any sort of job where you have to like work with bureaucracy and politics of the of it, that it will appeal to you.
I think from what I've heard about the film and things like that, it's like a comment on how when you do a job that it doesn't take. Now, I'm very careful how I word this because I don't want to say that anyone can do them, but that you're kind of literally a number in a cog.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know if it's a job where anyone could do it as well. And they definitely play up to that fact of like just horrible, just pointless jobs and how they're not necessary. Like there is some horrific darkness at times with a character called Tom, and they're asking him what do you do in your daily role, and he's like, well, I take this from the customers and I give it to the software developers. And they're like, okay, what else do you do? And he's like, well, I do that. And they're like, so do you physically hand it to him? And he's like, no, my secretary does that. He's like, okay, so what's your role in it? I deal with the customers. Do you speak to them? No, not always. And it's just, it really plays on stuff like that. I'm just checking my notes for anything else. I have the cinematographer's name because it was Mike Judge's first live action debut. He relied on the cinematographer to like help him out with like some of the camera movements and blocking and everything. So that's Tim Surstead. Was allowed like a little bit more control, and he does a good job. Like it's not beautifully well lit, but it's definitely got good.
But that's by design, isn't it?
That is by design.
Yeah.
But it still has like a really good sense of blocking to it as well, and it does have like camera movements and repeating motifs that are definitely effective. Like it is not devoid.
Is a lot of things that they locked off, or has it got movement?
There's movement. There is movement. and then there's like pushing into like into a close up, like dollying in to make sure that like there's extra emphasis that's cutting in for close ups. Like it is not devoid of, cinematic language. I would also like to shout out Diedrich Bader, who plays his neighbor Lawrence, who's just like this cool hang loose guy with a mustache. Who it really makes it feel like a lived in world that they're all a part of. Anything else?
What did the director go on to do after?
So we did the film Idiocracy.
I was going to say, I always got these two films confused. Yeah. And I always thought that, like, I got confused between the two because Idiocracy is a film that I really want to see.
Idiocracy is, like, fine.
Oh, is it? Would you say Office Space is better?
Office Space is so
because Idiocracy did really badly, didn't it?
Yeah, I like the idea of Idiocracy. I don't think it's as... I think it maybe needed like a second draft or something.
Isn't like part of the plot line in Idiocracy that like everyone becomes stupid in the future and wear Crocs all the time? Like that's part of...
They
not
are
saying that if you wear Crocs that you're stupid. Please, sub-redditors, calm down.
No, you are. I'm saying it though. If you wear Crocs, you are dumb.
Maybe if you wear them around the house and then doing the garden, but not out to the shops.
Yeah, that's fine. If you wear them into the shops, you actually lose at least 10 points of IQ. God.
You said that, not me.
God, that makes it sound like snobs.
Yeah.
We went to a comprehensive...
I'm sorry, we went to a C of E school, I promise. That makes it worse, doesn't it? Oh,
that was our primary school.
Yeah.
Secondary school was just regular old secondary.
Yeah, state school.
State school, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's anything else, but How
many stars out of 5?
I knew this was going to be asked. I have one thing to say before it.
Yes.
That will probably inform you of my stars out of 5. But I would say this film changed my life.
Do you think that's... Sorry, you carry on.
Were you going to ask if it's because I
worked in an office? Yeah. Do you think it would have the same impact on me having not worked in an office in that sense per se?
I think you could still watch it and benefit and...
appreciate it
and be like, oh, I don't need to care about the bullshit so much, because that's what it...
You assume that I do.
I do assume that you do, but I watched it and I was just like, and this is the thing that the star Ron Livingston says like happens throughout like people like come up to him still and they go, oh, Office Space, man, that film changed my life, and he needs to like judge whether that was a good or bad thing depending, because it's seen as this film of just slacker mentality. And I wouldn't say I'm a slacker 100%, but it just showed
that was like a real term in the 90s, wasn't it? A slacker.
Yeah, it was.
Because there's that
there's the movie Slacker.
Yeah, by Richard Linklater, who did like Boyhood and
Dazed and Confused
and School of Rock.
Yeah. But it made me just go, I don't need to care so much. I don't need to stress about all of these like little things. And it shows you the start of it. Peter, the main character, is getting asked by multiple people to like check up on the same thing, and is being reminded about one tiny mistake over and over, and they're not listening to him. It's horrific in a way. It's so funny because it's awkward, and it was just watching that and seeing him then become more relaxed and zen and having this mindset, and just showing, and at the end, not give anything away, but there's a nice resolution where he starts to then focus on the more positive things in life and doing work that is meaningful. Yeah. And I don't think without me seeing this film that I would have made the decision to leave my previous job.
Yeah.
Like, obviously there was an influence there of like, I knew I could leave and get money for it.
Yeah.
But I don't think without having seen this, I would have felt confident enough or had the mindset of like, things will work out. And I definitely felt like after watching it, there was a distinct change in how I acted and approached
Do you mean to say this film made you go, oh, I'll take the redundancy and go and travel for 6 months?
Yeah. Only 3 months.
Sorry, 3.
Yeah,
make it,
right.
say 6 months. Make it 9 months. You can travel for 9 months. Wow, you can put that in the edit.
I can, yeah, I can. No, Yeah, it definitely did. And so I would say, look, maybe it should just be a 4, like a 4-star. Like,
So you're saying
I
kind of clinically it's a 4, but
I'd say clinically it's a 4 because like it's mostly not formulaic. There are twists and turns to the narrative which do highlight it. The romance is a little bit formulaic and played out.
But
They could give
subjectively-
Jennifer Aniston more to do, but for me, it's a 5-star film. I think it's like this is, and I was thinking about like I haven't watched the Batman again. I was like, for me, 5-star film. But yeah, the Office Space. If you feel. Am I coming to the end of my time?
No, you still have 7 minutes left.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll wrap it up anyway. If you've ever worked in a place, or if you do work in a place right now, and you're a bit, you're a bit down and out, you just, it stresses you out too much, watch this. Watch this. I genuinely, after this, adopted like the joking affect that me and my sister use for each other quite a bit, is just don't worry about it. And so like one of us might be stressed and we'll just say to the other one, and we do say it a bit jokingly, but we're like, just don't worry about it. Just don't worry. And sometimes, like, honestly, if you're saying that to someone that you don't know too well and they're clearly worked up, don't say that. Awful. But if you've got a good rapport with someone, if you've got like, a good healthy relationship between the two of you, saying that with a smile and then just being like, it'll work out. It can actually help. And if you say it to yourself and if you say it out loud physically, and I know this can sort of sound like a bit like up in the air, crazy mumbo jumbo, but if you say it out loud just to yourself, it just falls away. Like I didn't have a particularly good day at work today. We won't go into all the details, but at the end of it all, like I was like, doesn't matter.
In my industry, no day's a good day, so...
Yes, true.
This is Celluloid Cinema, bringing you film recommendations and self-help. Please send in your letters.
Well, maybe if no day's a good day, you should watch Office Space.
Yeah.
And then you start thinking about all the little things.
Or the film that I'm going to recommend.
Maybe, but I would give it 5 stars. And let's go on to the film that you recommend as well. But honestly, watch this film.
I will give it a watch.
Yeah, and then you'll also then just get like really good old school hip hop, gangster raps stuck in your head as well.
So my film I'm going to recommend is it's a sequel of all things. Sequel.
A sequel. Terminator 2?
No. Oh gosh, that is what a picture.
What a picture.
I can't do the Al Pacino husky. What a picture.
Oh, what a picture.
I poured myself a cognac and I'm going to stop trying because I
It's
just can't do
called
it.
being an old man.
Yeah. When we're doing this and we're 80 and the equipment's falling apart. And
Yeah. Your throat gets worn away from years of going,
shit, that was loud in the mic. No, so this film is Babe 2 Pig in the City.
Babe 2 Pig in the City.
Or I think Babe Pig in the City.
It is just Babe Pig in the City.
Sorry.
But the funnier way to say the title.
Babe 2 Pig in the City.
Yes, definitely.
So obviously, this is a sequel to Babe, which was a massive hit in 1995. Was nominated for several Oscars, including Best Picture, Best Director.
Was it actually nominated for Best Picture?
Yeah,
I don't think I realised that.
Yeah, James Cromwell was nominated for Best Supporting Actor. It was a proper critical darling. It did really well, and if you've never seen it, it's the story of
But he's the lead other than the pig.
Yeah, I never really understood that. So the pig was nominated for Best Act. No, it wasn't. The pig's the lead. But yeah, it's the first one was directed by a man called Chris Noonan, who it was kind of his first real film. He'd done a film called Bulls and Stepping Out previously.
I'm assuming he's an Aussie director.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's an Australian, but those two films are like documentaries and short films, and I mean they don't even have an IMDb page.
Oh wow!
And the only other film he did after that was Miss Potter, 11 years later in 2006 with Renee Zellweger.
And Ewan McGregor.
Yeah, and Ewan McGregor. Actually, not a bad film.
I watched it when I was too young because I
Yeah.
watched it as a teenager and I found it very boring. And the only reason I watched it was because my sister promised me there was a fight in there at some point.
Is there?
No, she lied.
She lied.
She tricked me.
But yeah, I always assumed that George Miller directed Babe
One.
1, but
He
he
did
didn't.
not.
He produced it and wrote it. But I think basically what happened was, so George Miller, if you don't know, of Mad Max fame and Furiosa more recently, did
all of the Mad Max
Yeah,
films.
did The Witches of Eastwick, Happy Feet.
Happy Feet.
Which, what are you doing, George?
He was feeling happy.
But yeah, I think basically what happened was he had done Mad Max 2. One of his kind of his producing partners died while they were location scouting for Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome.
Okay.
So he only co-directed that film.
Yes.
Then he did The Witches of Eastwick, Lorenzo's Oil. Babe came out, obviously was massive hit. And then he wanted to basically step in and be like, now I'm going to do this one.
Yes.
So to start with the story, Babe 2 starts with the pig coming back. He's one because he is the sheep pig, if I didn't say. So obviously the plot of Babe is he's a pig who becomes rather than it being a sheepdog, he's a pig that becomes a sheep pig and herds the sheep at the end. And the farmer, Mr. Hoggett, says, "That'll do, pig. That'll do."
Oh, dude.
And then the film ends and everyone's happy. Well, at the start of Babe 2, the farmer's in a well trying to fix something, and the pig tries to help him, but through one reason or another, this big, heavy, tool thing falls on his head while he's at the bottom of the well, and the farmer is not able to work anymore. So they run out of money. So the Mrs. Hoggett, who I can't remember who plays her, but she's amazing in the film. If you could look for me, Cameron.
I'll give it a goose.
So they because he's a sheep pig, they're offered all this money to go to these shows. So they decide they're going to go to the city and they're going to go and be at this show, and they'll get some money because the farm's running out of money. Now, the scene where the people from the bank come is one of the most incredible. Like the way that they are introduced is awesome. This film is like a picture book in terms of you've got animals that are the animals talk, but it's not done in a way that's cringy.
They're not. So obviously this was from the 90s.
Yeah.
So they couldn't do
1998.
full CG
Yeah.
animals.
All the animals
Could
are
they?
real.
All the animals are real. They're all trained.
Or they are not animation. Sorry,
Animatronic.
Animatronic.
Yeah.
So now I wouldn't like to know what the animal welfare was on this film.
Does it have a no animals were hurt during the making of this film stamp at the end?
I mean, I think George Miller's a bit of a.
Oh,
Lauren's back.
Lauren's back. We'll pause.
Where was I up to? I should have asked before. Sorry, we had to pause again.
You said the men in the bank.
Oh, sorry. So
the bank men.
Because obviously the farmer can't work. So
and the wife is called Magda Zuzabanski.
Magda Zuzabanski, who plays Mrs. Hoggett, is incredible. But so because the farmer's been hit on the head and he can't work, they run out of money on the farm.
Yeah.
So they have to go to this show in a city somewhere. But the people from the bank are described as, there's a narration on it, like a storybook narration, and it goes, these people came and they were in suits and pale faces and looked like only they could have come from one place, and I'm paraphrasing here. But
we were talking about the animals and how that was done.
The animals are done through animatronics and real trained animals, which I think at times is questionable how they did it. But we won't ask questions. We'll just enjoy the art.
And I do have a question before you go back to the suit men. Sorry.
Yes.
How did they make their lips move, or is that some sort of?
It is CGI. It is
That's
CG.
CG
Yeah,
trick
you
for
can
the
see
movement.
that the lips moving is CG because at times it's a little bit, But yeah, just the way that the film starts and it's introduced, and the farm is shown as being this really warm and beautiful and kind of wholesome place, and the men from the bank are like how they're introduced is just
They're like ghouls.
yeah, and as an adult you're there like, oh yeah, I get it, but even as a kid you'd be like, oh, I get it. They're kind of
You'd be afraid of them.
yeah, and
Because the last time I watched this film was when I was a child.
yeah,
It must have been younger than 6 or 7.
yeah, which is what it's designed for, really.
Yeah, traumatized.
Yeah.
Hated this film. Scared
Yeah.
me.
It's
Yeah.
and there's a duck in it called Fernando who's my lucky duck, my lucky pig. Hey, babe, come here. And like he is amazing in the film, like the best character in it. But the pig is like the voice is done by a child, but not in a cheesy way. It's like it's warranted and it kind of gives the film a lot of heart. So Mrs. Hoggett and Babe go off in the pickup truck to the airport. Now, there's a shot at the start that I do not understand how they did it, where there's some mice, and they are real mice, and they're operatic mice. Don't let me forget. Who sing songs throughout and kind of narrate the film along with the narrator. They're on this suitcase in the back of the pickup truck, and then they go into like this little hole in the side of the suitcase, and the pickup truck drives off all in one shot. And I was like, how on earth have they done that? Like their shot is on the suitcase of the mice. They go into the little hole, and then it kind of dollies back, and then the pickup truck drives off. And I'm like, it's just.
This is an audio medium, so as Jack was describing that to me, my face looked pained
Yes.
as I was trying to figure it out.
How that worked.
I'm going to go with a classic answer from The Simpsons. A wizard did it.
Yes.
A wizard did it. Sorry.
Honestly, some of the shooting in this film is wizardry. Also, the costume in this it's like a child's version of Mad Max. Like, obviously, where the farmer's injured himself, he's got this like brace on his hand, and it looks like Mad Max. Like, there's just something like almost not unworldly, but like just
bit post-apocalyptic.
yeah, almost like it's just got so much texture to it, and you're like, I don't know if it's necessarily post-apocalyptic or whether it's because we've seen it with Mad Max that's what I associate it to.
Yeah.
But yeah, the like costume design, like the farmer's got like a blanket around him as she's waving him off goodbye. And normally you just have a blanket that's one color or something, but this thing's like every color that you have on the color chart. Like, it's no chill for this like film. And then they go on to the plane, and the plane is like this really cold, dark color.
Pig on a plane?
Yeah, pig on a plane in the
Pig on a plane.
Yeah, pig on a plane.
Wow.
And Mrs.
When
Hoggett's,
pigs fly, truly.
and Mrs. Hoggett's like on the plane, and she's got like the life jacket on her, and she like pulls it and it blows up on her kind of thing, and it's like all the silly little jokes that you would want,
like cute whimsical things.
cute whimsical things, but they don't feel unwarranted.
I feel like this was a prime time for those kind of films.
Yeah, like late 90s, so 98 this came out.
Like Little Vampire as well.
Yeah, and
Stuart Little.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Just-
yeah. But this, I would say, this is a million times better.
Okay.
This is like
Sorry, Jonathan Lipnicki.
yes, this is like high art children's film. Like, and then Babe ends up, because I wouldn't be talking about this otherwise. Like, when I say this film is incredible, it is incredible. Babe is then waiting in like the baggage area of the airport, and he starts talking to a dog, and the dog's like, "Oh, hi, you're a funny looking puppy." And the dog's like, "If I bark a lot, they give me whatever I want. Watch." Starts barking. So all the police come and they like X-ray the pig, and then they miss their transfer flight to go to this show, so they have to stay in the city. Obviously, they don't get the money. So Mrs. Hoggett's really sad, and they end up in this hotel, and this set is built. It's clearly a set, but they've got like these.
Don't ruin the illusion.
Oh, no, but
Not
it's
a
so
pig in the city.
Like you can tell it's a set, but this hotel is built and it's so textured and almost like storybook. Like, sorry, I'm doing the Mark Commode thing where I'm moving my hands around.
They were far above his head.
And it's like nothing's straight lines. It's all like wavy lines and kind of there's this canal that's along the street, and it's almost like Venice, but not.
Would you say it's a little German expressionism?
Yeah, no, it's very German expressionism. Very, that's what I'm looking for. Like German expressionism with a bit of Brothers Grimm and a bit of, all these kind of textured things.
Bit of dream ballet from like 50s, 40s musicals as well. Yeah.
And they go into this hotel, and the woman who runs the hotel is an actress that only George Miller would hire. Like, she's got more in the way that she looks than most other actors. Like literally she can just walks on screen and you're like, okay, I get what we're going for here.
What do you mean by that? Is that as in like appearance or
in appearance,
talent?
just the way she looks,
just a unique looking individual with a craggy face. Because I know the podcast The Weekly Planet, when they talk about recently when they've been talking about like Killers of the Flower Moon and things, it's just like that it's full of like weird beautiful uggos and like straight, like really strange people that you like wouldn't see.
Like,
sorry, I've thought of something else as well. This is reminding me, not that we're talking about it, but when I rewatched The Batman, the chief of police, like some of the characters, I think all of the characters are quite good, but the chief of police is like a guy who like speaks, sort of talks like this, and he's got a real breathy voice, and he's like, "You really gonna stand by this guy, Jim? You really gonna stand by him?" And I was like, what a weird, like, that's maybe his real voice, but like, what a weird character choice if that's all. I'm not sure, but he's got a mustache.
Because he's in Chernobyl, that actor.
Oh, okay.
He plays one of the miners.
Oh no, not the commissioner who gets killed. No, it's like another guy later on, like when he's in the lockup interrogation. But I loved that he was like another like strange, like unique. It adds
a lot more to stuff. That doesn't.
It really does. Like some of the only people that aren't like really big name actors, and he's just there like, "You think you're gonna stand by this vigilante? You think he's gonna do the city proud?" He's just got that weird wispy voice. Sorry, you were gonna say something else.
No, I just
about the uniqueness of the
and then
casting.
But and then they've got an actor called Mickey Rooney who was big in the 50s, I think, who's like playing the
ironic because he's tiny.
Yeah, literally. Yeah. And he plays like this clown, and there's some orangutans and some chimps.
Yes, they traumatized me as a kid.
Yeah, which is so strange, but kind of as an adult, you're like, okay, I kind of. And then there's like they go past a room that's full of cats singing a choir, and you're like, what is going on here? But I'm kind of going with it. There's some dogs that are like your typical old men that are like, oh, what's going on here? Okay. And there's one that's like got like a brace on with like little wheels because his back legs don't work. And like, I mean, the best part of the film though to me is Babe looks out the window onto a cityscape, and there's like landmarks from all parts of the world. So you've got like Big Ben, you've got the Eiffel Tower, you've got the Christ the Redeemer, you've got obviously Twin Towers was still up at the time. You've got Empire State Building, you've got a Sydney Opera House.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. You can't laugh at that, Cam.
Sorry, that's the internet that's ruined me. That's become a meme.
But yeah, I think, and then it cuts back to the duck who's trying to keep up with the plane, but he gets a lift with the pelican, and he was like,
so they did it.
What?
Doesn't matter. No,
shut up, Cam. Oh my God. And
so it's trying to be like Babe could be anywhere in the world.
Yeah, but it basically saying that a city is like it's using a city as a basis. It doesn't matter where this city is. It's anywhere in the world, but to them, because they're from the idyllic thing.
Because it's a bit of a loosey-goosey thing anyway.
Yeah.
It's an Australian-made film.
But it's basically set in England.
Based on a British book set in England, but then James Cromwell's an American farmer who
doing an Irish accent.
Yeah.
And it's not really meant to be set anywhere. It could be anywhere. But it kind of Mrs. Hoggett, through some reason or another, she goes looking for Babe, and she's not in the film for a bit, and then it goes on to Babe goes out to try and get some food and stuff like that. The rest of the plot doesn't really matter too much, but there's a bit where he gets chased by these nasty dogs, and like he's being chased, and then he like turns around to confront them and be like, "Why are you chasing me?" And with that, the dog falls in the canal and he's like dangling by a chain, and all the other animals are there watching, like all these street animals are watching, and they all turn away. And I don't know if that's like the analogy is that as a society, when we see something bad, we just turn away and don't look at it. But Babe, being this innocent and kind of heart, like led by his heart rather than his head, he goes and helps him, despite the fact that moments earlier this like dog had tried to kill him. And like, I mean, I don't know. I don't think some films that are designed for adults get that message across quite as well as this film.
No,
but
Babe doesn't care. Babe's a good Samaritan.
Yeah, and then not long after that, the duck turns up again. So he lands after his long journey. So he's gone for like a third of the film, and then he lands, and the first thing he does in the city is lands at a shooting range, and you've got like all these American people shooting, and they're like blasting this target, and the duck's like, "Wow, okay," and then he like flies off, and then he's sat on like this top of this building, like slumped down, like, "Oh, pig, where's a pig? Oh, pig." And it's genuinely one of the funniest moments of the film. But
that one wouldn't work well today.
No, not today. No, this was pre-Columbine.
I still find it funny.
Yeah.
Same year as Columbine, I think. Or is Columbine 99?
99, I think Columbine was.
Yeah.
Damn, what year 99 was. Everything happened.
Everything happened.
But
other than the towers.
Yeah.
Which, of course, was Tuesday, September 11th.
Yeah.
2001.
But the animals all represent like social outcasts. Like you've got a kitten represents a hungry child. You've got this poodle that represents like your typical kind of street worker.
Yeah.
You've got like amputees. You've got disabled animals, things like that.
Very inclusive.
Yeah, but I think it's just more kind of how it. I don't know. It's just got so much texture to it. Now, I'm not saying in any way, shape, or form this film is perfect, because it's not. But
well, it sounds like woke propaganda, so it couldn't be perfect.
It's in no way like got. I don't think. But
that is me being sarcastic.
Yeah.
If you start pounding the table with me, go away. Keep listening because we want your views.
Yes,
but go away. We can't. I bait them in every episode.
Yeah, you're baiting a lot of people. We've lost everyone.
Don't want them.
No,
don't want them.
Just one singular person listening happily.
Sorry.
Probably our grands. We'll have to show them how to use it. But yeah, I just think, like I say, this film isn't perfect, but compared to what we get today, it is like a storybook in film form, but not one of these shit animated live action films in quotation marks that we get today, like The Lion King. It's not that. Not the original's amazing, the new one's shit. It is
the first new one. The second one hasn't come out yet at time of recording.
Pass judgment on it when we see it.
Yeah.
But I think it's just so refreshing to see what can be done with live action and sets and actors and those kind of things. But so when it came out, I didn't realise it was panned by a lot of critics, but Siskel and Ebert, this was the last year that Siskel gave his top 10 films of the year.
Mm-hmm.
So Siskel had it, Roger Ebert had it, who are obviously potentially two of the most famous film critics ever.
Very influential as well.
Roger Ebert had it at number 7 on his top 10 films of the year.
Yeah.
And Ebert had it as...
sorry, Siskel or Ebert, because you said Ebert had it at 7.
Ebert had it at 7, sorry. Siskel had it at number 1. It was his favourite film of the year.
Wow.
Yeah. And when they first saw it, they raved about it. They said it's better than the first one.
Yeah.
Because that's the only reason why I watched this film originally, probably 6-7 months ago. And I thought, this film can't be that good. And I heard a podcast about it. But there's not much out there about it.
No, because it's one of those ones that, like, because it's a children's film,
But I don't. Yeah,
talking about it,
it's not cool.
it's not as cool. Like talking
No.
about Office Space is kind of cool because it's a bit like there's some like aggy like whoa fuck you politics to it as well of like and especially with the quiet quitting movement
Yeah.
and all of that
But-
jazz as well. Whereas talking about a really wholesome film about a lovely pig that will save even the villains that try and hurt him.
But I think that
That's
it's
that's not as
But this film isn't.
cool to talk about. But I respect you for it.
But but I think that's the thing. This film isn't. It's too simplistic to say it's a children's film. It's more
Family film,
Well, I
maybe,
wouldn't-
or
yeah.
all ages.
it's literally it is. I think I appreciate it more now. Now I'm 27
Yeah.
than I would have done when I was 5 or 6.
Yeah,
Definitely.
definitely.
But I think that's this film's strength and weakness.
Do you think
is
it's...
that-
Sorry, carry
No,
on.
no, you carry on.
No, you go.
No, I just think that I think George Miller was making a film for adults.
Yeah.
But he accidentally did it in a children's film. And it came out and everyone went, well, that's not what I wanted.
Yeah.
I wanted the fully innocent little film that we had before about a pig that can herd sheep. This film is not about a pig that can herd sheep. This film's about a pig who goes and learns about the world and
Yeah.
sees it through the innocent viewpoint of a little pig with some orangutans and some chimps.
Of a
and,
country boy.
Yeah, it's basically me going to the city, Cameron.
You go big shitty.
But yeah, yeah, if I was to, like, I'm amazed they didn't have the tagline, "Babe's not in Kansas anymore," because that's basically what this.
Would have confused people though.
Yeah,
People would be like,
yeah.
I thought he was from England.
I thought he was from England. You mean Yellow Brick Road?
Yeah, we're talking about the population that had to have Philosopher's Stone changed to Sorcerer's Stone.
Yeah,
so
because
that no one got confused.
Yeah, but no, I would give this film 5 stars.
You would give this 5 stars?
Actually, no, sorry, I'd give it 4. But in terms of its,
Would you give it 4 on the technical, but in your heart it's a 5?
My only gripe with this film is I do think it slows down a tiny bit towards the end.
Okay.
But for the opening alone, I'd give it 5.
Even with isn't it like 87-minute runtime?
Yeah, I think it. The thing is, there's a point in the middle of the film where literally you don't see a human for a good 25 minutes, I reckon.
Oh, okay.
And that point, you're a little bit. I mean, how they shot this film, I do not know.
Yeah.
How in any way, shape, or form they got because
They probably use cameras. Shoot it.
you're a dick.
But
But like having been on an actual set and getting actors to do what they need to do to get, actually, to be fair, it's probably easier using animals sometimes.
no, I wouldn't say so. I've been on a set with horses.
Yeah, to be fair.
and you grew up with horses.
Yeah, they don't give a fuck.
No, they're terrifying creatures. I don't.
Oh no, they're lovely creatures.
Oh no, they scare
But-
me so much. They're so big, and even when they're really well trained, they're not that well trained.
Well,
they are stubborn, strange
Yeah, they're
beasts.
stubborn, strange beasts, and I don't think horses are the things that I would be shocked about, because there's a horse in it a little bit at the start. It's a big old Shire that's on the farm. The animals that I don't understand how they got to train is the fucking cats. How
Yes,
on
no.
earth do you get? And they've got a kitten in this film that does a fair bit.
Can't get a cat to do anything.
You can't get a kitten to do fuck all.
Like
You can't get it to not shit on the floor.
exactly.
Well, I don't have a kitten.
That's why you just got a cat.
Yeah, just a
Full-on
cat. Yeah, he just came perfectly packaged as a full-on cat.
He is a good cat,
To be, oh, thank you.
but I still don't think he would listen to a single word you ever say.
He doesn't give a shit what I say.
No.
The only thing he knows is now, because we're recording this around Christmas time, I've got him an advent calendar, so every morning I come downstairs and he's trying to eat my advent calendar.
Oh, crafty
Bastard.
bastard.
But yeah, no, I seriously would highly follow Siskel and Ebert's recommendation for you that you should watch this film. It is beautiful. It is heartwarming. It is at times dark. It is at times light. It's gives you a little bit of social commentary. I don't think it changed my life like Office Space did to you, but I think it kind of made me maybe reassess what I would view in terms of I watched this and then
what you'd spend your time watching.
yeah, like I watched this and then I watched Wes Anderson's Fantastic Mr. Fox, and I thought, oh, because I'd never seen Fantastic Mr. Fox before, Wes Anderson's one, and because I was like, children's film, I ain't watching that, and I've always thought that like everyone likes Wes Anderson.
Had you not seen it before?
No, I'd not seen it before.
It's really good.
So, and I watched it and I was like, this film is beautiful.
It's excellent.
It is incredible.
The character I love in that film is, I can't remember which Fartman name it is, but Michael Gambon's character.
That's Bean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stop it, Petey. He's just such an arsehole the entire time. And he's so
He just always gets
funny.
his, Petey, we need a ladder.
Yes. It's
And
so
he just,
funny.
yeah. And
Have
like,
you seen his other Roald Dahl adaptations on Netflix?
yes, no, they're very good.
They're excellent. Yeah.
Like is it Poison, the one with Benedict Cumberbatch where he's got a snake on his stomach?
Yes, Poison, Wonderful World of Henry Sugar.
Yeah.
The Rat Catcher, which is a bit scary
Yeah.
at points, and then the Swan, which is quite strange and ethereal.
Yeah, so Roald Dahl was definitely an interesting character because
Yeah.
his first story was one about where a woman kills herself with a frozen bit of meat. I think it's frozen leg of lamb, and then the police come around to investigate, and she cooks the leg of lamb and feeds them the leg of lamb, so the evidence is gone.
Wow, crafty. Do you
Yeah.
think he did that in his real life? Because he was like a fighter pilot and a spy. Do you think that's how he got the idea?
No, I just think he was a bit of I think he had the outer kind of appearance of being this lovely little old man who sat in his shed and had a blanket and a little writing desk and looked all comfy and cozy. But apparently he beat his wife and stuff like that.
Oh, I didn't know
I mean,
I've heard he was a racist.
Yeah, I know. I may say that is stuff that are allegations, or
Yeah, the allegations.
because wasn't it? What's the one where they like have a different language, just like the Wuzzle-bub language or whatever? I don't know. Am I making it up? There's a Roald Dahl story where people speak a different language.
The Oompa Loompas?
I don't know who it is. Is it BFG?
Maybe.
There's one story that I don't know why I said Wuzzle-bub. That just came.
That sounds like a Roald Dahl world.
Yeah.
The schnozberries taste like schnozberries.
Yeah. There's one of his stories where people speak in a certain way, and basically his wife had a stroke, and they reckon that he was inspired by that, and he was just like, "You sound stupid," and used that as I mean, now this is all alleged. I'm not trying to knock everyone's favorite children's author.
I think we shouldn't end another episode speaking about terrible men.
No. We should end it happily. We should talk about
I've got a thing that I think we could do.
Okay, go on then.
I think let's put away our conception and our idea of, because obviously this is a film review podcast and all of that jazz. But I think we should put away our conception of like, oh, but technically it's not quite this or that. And maybe we don't want to be too liberal throwing out our 5 stars all over the place.
Yeah.
But also at the same time, fuck it. If we like it and it means that much to us, it means that much to us. What people need to remember at the end of the day, as much as cinema is art, it's also entertainment. And these two things intertwine all the time. And I would say that this film, Babe, Pig in the City for you and Office Space for me, both of them are artistic and have their merits, but both of them entertained us and could be seen as either or, but we have taken a great deal out of it. You have had like a new appreciation of cinema, family cinema and like what the audiences for cinema are. Office Space made me leave my bloody job. Like, also the allegations. That's a joke.
Allegations?
That's a joke. That's a joke. It was a voluntary redundancy.
Please, no letters on subreddits.
Please, no speculating or anything. I left so that someone else didn't have to, because I wanted money.
Oh,
and
you
travel.
good man.
Yeah, just virtue signaling and all of that.
I think.
But yeah, I think I think you should say it's a 5-star film with pride.
I think it is a 5-star film. Do you know what? That was my biggest when I was at university doing the film degree. Humble brag. No, I'm not joking. It's not a humble brag. Anyone can get onto a film degree course, honestly.
Oh, settle down.
I'm sorry.
We tried.
We tried.
We tried. We did well.
I think that was the thing that wound me up so much on the course was people have such a a disregard for like cinema as entertainment. They're all like, oh, you mean you don't like the Holy Mountain, or like you don't like French New Wave?
I think it's a particular pomposity that you get when you are a student and when you are that age as well, because you have the arrogance and the ignorance to think that you know everything.
And you just think that, like, hang on a minute, pipe the fuck down. If it wasn't for popular cinema, if it wasn't for the Bond series or Jaws or Star Wars or like Rocky and stuff like that, there would be no industry for you to make your art house films. There would be no. Paris, Texas, or whatever it is that I do need to watch that, or you wouldn't be able to get your David Lynch's, your David Cronenberg.
Nicholas Winding Refn makes all of his money off of directing adverts.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he made Miss Marple TV episodes for a bit.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's just being able to appreciate that at the end of the day, cinema is being able to go to a dark room with whoever you want to be or on your own and have a joint experience with a load of other people. Yeah. Now, 9 times out of 10, one of the most fun ways to do that is watching someone, whether it be Tom Cruise running with some bombastic music playing in the background or flying a plane.
Yeah.
What Mach 2 or whatever it, Mach 4 or 9 or whatever it is in Top Gun Maverick with the money was flying, the music blaring, like that bit at the opening of Top Gun Maverick where he's like Mach 10 and then he's like pushing on to Mach 11 and you're like, oh, this is amazing. You nearly sat there with like, it sounds really cringe, but
one of the best experiences at uni, one of my favourite modules was called Cinema, Spectacle and Technology, and it was all about the progression of film and how blockbusters and these huge performing films push the technology and push the boundaries that then enable these smaller films to be made. And one of the best screenings that we had was Tron Legacy, because people hadn't, none of us had really seen it. One of the worst screenings we had was Tron, because I left feeling physically ill. Yeah, that film's dated, bad score, horrendous to like look at in the modern day. I genuinely left with a migraine and was like, I feel ill, like I feel disgusting. But Tron Legacy, we were all there, like we were loving Michael Sheen chewing the scenery, the Daft Punk soundtrack. We cranked it up.
I remember
extra loud
because I've not seen Tron Legacy, but I've heard the soundtrack.
Soundtrack's stunning.
I think. Would you agree that there are certain films that you can only really watch in the cinema to appreciate? I would, and that is one of them.
I've not seen it since, but it sticks with me.
Yeah.
So that's a good 7 years since I've seen that.
I think so. For example, one of my favourite memories being in the cinema, and you can think what you want about this film, but I saw it again at a screening. I think it was last year, with someone I used to work with, is Avatar. And you know the bit when he first learns to fly and he's flying around the tree? That bit, I remember being in the cinema, being what, I'd have been 12 years old and being like, this is incredible.
We loved Avatar.
We loved Avatar. Now I don't...
I do. I stand by it.
I'm glad you did that, because I will stand by it as well.
You were going to...
Yeah, I was... I just think that... I think there's certain little bits where I'm like, yeah, but overall, when you see it in the cinema, it's a different experience to see it at home.
It is. I would say that the advancements of home media have made it a better film to watch at home. Because I remember I went to see it twice in the cinema. I can't remember if you saw it twice.
We
saw it with you.
Yeah, once. We saw it once for my birthday.
Yes, and the other time I went with my dad. Yeah, and me and my dad had to go to we had to go to the next town over because I was desperate to go see it. Yeah. Because it was Jim Cameron, who was probably one of my favourite director at the time, I would say. Yeah. And I was desperate to go see it, but we went to the next town over because all of the screenings in our town were sold out.
Yeah. I think
for that entire weekend, which is mental.
Which you wouldn't really expect to happen anymore.
No,
Sadly,
it was a sensation. And then like a couple of years later, like I remember seeing like a bit of it on a projector at school on DVD, and I was like, oh, it doesn't look great. And I'd got a bit more cynical and like a bit more into my film
it was
moodiness.
popular to hate it.
It was
wasn't
popular to hate it. But then before we went and watched the second one,
Yeah,
I rewatched it at home, and I was like, no. Even if it does hit like, you know, familiar
Yeah.
plot points, and it's like it wears its
Pocahontas.
influences on its sleeve, yeah, doesn't matter. It's
No,
really well made,
it's-
and I think seeing it in HD or 4K, whatever I saw it in on my TV, streaming it, obviously there's some compression to it, but
Yeah.
still a lot better than it would have been on a horrible school projector on a DVD back in
Yeah.
the day.
I think
I think that really supports it. We should wrap up after this as well.
last
I
one
think,
really
yeah.
quickly. I think another kind of one is Interstellar.
Okay.
Yeah, that.
I don't love Interstellar, but
I-
I had a bad experience watching it.
Yeah, I think that is another cinema film because there's the bit where they're like redocking on the spaceship when it's spinning out, and I went and saw it with one of our friends back when it came out in 2014, and
I was working, so I couldn't join you.
honestly,
You
I
went-
have never felt like it's just like you're sat there like, oh my god, the music's going. Hans Zimmer is literally just like,
So
have some of that.
So my screening of Interstellar that I saw was a couple of years later. I went
Yeah.
to see it at the Prince Charles with a friend on 70mm, and we were like, wow, film projection. Debate for another day. I'm not a massive fan of actually projecting films on film because the entire print had 2 lines up it, 2 scratch lines, and I was just pissed off the
Yeah,
entire
to
time.
be fair.
Shoot on film. I don't know if I want it projected on film all the time. It depends on when it's from. It depends on like the mood and stuff. I would
Yeah.
say watching The Shining projected on film really works well, really adds to it. The lighting coming through the windows has never like looked better. Seeing Interstellar on film upset me. Seeing Pan's Labyrinth on film, I was like, what? This is a very faded print. I was quite annoyed by it. But anyway, let's not dwell on all of that.
Have you got a recommendation to end with?
I actually do, yeah. Well, the whole thing's been recommendations, so obviously go watch Bay Pig in the City and Office Space, both 5-star films from us. And don't be afraid to rate films just horrendously high in your own personal life as
You
well.
can love Avatar. You don't worry about it.
You can love Avatar. You can give Hayden Christensen's Jumper 5 stars as well if you really loved it as a
That's
kid.
a film that you want to come back to at some point, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Nice.
Definitely. That's going to be films that you cannot justifiably critique.
What,
as an adult.
like I want to talk about Battleship. Or is it Battleships? I can't believe you're laughing, Cam.
I've never
What do you
seen
mean?
Battleship, but sure, yeah.
What do you mean you can't love a film? Like I actually
thought it would have
really
been
liked
like
that
I
film.
thought it would have been a film from like, you know, maybe a bit younger in your life.
No, I went and saw that film in 2012 when it came out. And
I guess we could do that in the Transformers films we could talk about because we love Transformers 1.
Yeah, don't knock Transformers 1.
And we also loved 3 when we
Yeah.
saw it. Yeah.
2 is absolute twaddle. But
We enjoyed it at the time.
I loved it at the time, but now
Yeah.
watching it back, you're like,
Yeah. When I say we, it's because I distinctly know that Jack and I saw these films together.
yeah, because I think we went with my dad as well to go and watch the third
3
one.
we did.
Yeah,
It was your dad, and then there was a row of guys from school behind us as
Yeah.
well, and we were all just going mental the
and I
entire
think my
time.
my dad included. She's like, yes,
Yeah, we were loving it.
go on Optimus Prime.
But yeah, we would obviously both recommend those films, and I would recommend for you another family film. I'll just do it quick. Kiki's Delivery Service.
I've
if you
seen
haven't
that.
seen it.
It's wonderful,
there you go.
delightful film.
I had another one that was in my mind, and then it completely slipped. Can't remember what it was, but yeah, that's it. But you've seen it, so there you go.
Yeah, it was. I had a recommendation lined up. I should note these things down. Nocturnal Animals. Have you seen it?
Yes, I have.
Okay, well there you go then.
Where did that one come from?
I watched it the other day because it was
Oh.
leaving Netflix, and I was like, "This is an absolute banger."
Yeah.
But
Really great.
I do like that film.
Yeah.
Michael Shannon is
I was
incredible.
just about to say, good old
He
Michael
is so
Shannon.
like dirty, but so good.
Yeah, just excellent.
Because I always thought he was going to be like just a bad guy, but he's not. He actually wants to help.
No, he's got a heart of gold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give himself a...
Jake Gyllenhaal's great as well. I think that might be shot on film.
Yeah, that's shot on film.
Yeah. Anyway, I think that's it. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you to Kevin MacLeod for the theme at the beginning and for being just an internet hero. Once again, thank you, Jack, for joining me once
Thank
more.
you, Cam. We really need to start on the damp in this cellar.
We do. God, I am choking on it slightly. It is giving... that's horrible for the people listening. It is giving me some sort of, I don't know, botulism. I'm not sure.
What's a botulism?
It's some sort of disease. I'm not a scientist. Put it in the comments. But thank you very much. We are now going to try and crawl out of the busted window in the cellar. But we might not be able to because of the chains. But we will see you next time down here in our dank, dirty basement of the Celluloid Cellar.
See you or you will hear us? Such a... What do you say?
Doesn't matter. Anyway.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.